What's up, you guys? It's your commissioner speaking, and we have week 6 wrapped up and good to roll. We're technically halfway into the regular season now, since there's 13 games of week 13. I believe it's the last week of regular season before it gets to fantasy football playoffs. So between 6.5 or 6 and 7, so to say 6.5 is our midway point. So since we got 6 weeks out of the way, I'm gonna call the midway point of the season. So yeah, lots of good stuff to talk about, you guys. Big numbers again this week. Not too many big injuries, so that's always a good sign. But for now, let's go ahead and get our introduction out of the way.
Week 6 recap.
That's right, you guys. So week 6 is done and wrapped up. Lots of good points to talk about. Couple good names up there for sure. Very exciting couple days because we had 2 Monday night games. Yeah, so after the whole speech I had last week about having an extra football game during the week because we had that Tuesday night game, apparently they postponed the Thursday night game and it got pushed to Monday night. So we had 2 Monday night games this week. So not bad. I'll take it. That's good. But yeah, let's get this out of the way. You guys check out our most or highest scoring players this week for week 6, and starting with our quarterback. Very good name, very highly drafted. I think it's the first time we mentioned his name. This guy right here, huh? So yeah, Deshaun Watson had 28 completions, 335 yards, and 4 touchdowns. You guys, that's a 68.0 fantasy outing for him, and this is Jay's quarterback, so pretty good. 68 points, almost 100 points, all by himself. So Deshaun Watson, you guys, pretty good. So a lot of people say this might be his fantasy football break point, so because he's been kind of quiet, they haven't really done too much offense when it comes to fantasy points, but this one definitely knocked it out of the water, right? So let's see how Deshaun Watson holds on week 7. All right, so, running back, this dude. This guy is a beast. Freaking Derrick Henry, 22 rushing attempts, 212 rushing yards, 2 receptions for 52 yards, 2 total touchdowns for 65.9. So that's Aaron's running back, so he did excellent. Derrick Henry is killing it. He's a freaking train. He's a beast. He's everything you want to label him right now. So Derrick Henry is the best running back this week. So awesome. So Aaron, good job, sir. All right. And the wide receivers actually a name that's up and coming as well. Check it out. This guy, Justin Jefferson. So he had 9 receptions, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he actually caught a 2-point conversion. I should have looked into see how much a 2-point conversion gives them. I want to say just a couple points and not like a touchdown. I think just like 2-3 points. But still, 2-point conversion and 2 receiving touchdowns for 47.6. And that was Gabriel's wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. All right. Did I say Jackson a second ago? I meant to say Jefferson if I messed up. But anyway, so yeah, pretty good up and coming name. Tight end, definitely not an up and coming name. Yeah, Mr. George Kittle. So 7 receptions, 109 yards, 1 touchdown for 30.9. That is Charles's tight end, George Kittle. So between George Kittle and Travis Kelce, it's been back-to-back weeks. I want to say we had George Kittle 2 weeks ago, Kelce last week, and George Kittle again as the top tight end for the week. So we should expect those names to be pretty much there every week, and so far for the last 3 weeks at least, it's been them. So I know they spent really good drafting capital to get those guys. Got drafted pretty early, so they better be paying off. And speaking about paying off, I do have a little section towards later on in this video. I'm going to talk about our number ones, since it's halfway point into the season. Might as well know who's our number 1 players per position. All right, so check out our kicker. That's right. Brandon McManus. Denver's kicker, in other words. 6 field goals, you guys. 6. 2 of them were over 50-yard field goals. So 28 fantasy points for Brandon McManus. Denver kicker, free agent. So there you go. We have a lot of bye weeks. Again, he could be a good filler. And last but not least, check out our defense. I'm a little salty about this guys right here. Let me tell you why. Because I've been rolling with Tampa Bay for the last several weeks. And it hurt really, really, really a lot last week when I had to drop them because I'm like, Tampa's going against the hot Aaron Rodgers and company. And there's no way they're going to put a good stat line. There's no way. So I ended up dropping them. They were actually, at that time, they were the number 3 defense in our fantasy league. So I felt so bad dropping them because I mean the matchup is so bad. They're going against Rodgers. Rodgers is hot. I want to say they were undefeated, right? So it's like, I have to. I picked up the Giants. Yes, the Giants to replace Tampa Bay. And now Tampa Bay, 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, including a touchdown. I call them the Aaron Rodgers killer. Aaron Rodgers could not do anything. And if you're the Aaron Rodgers owner, which I think is Cody? No. Who has Aaron Rodgers? Anyway, but obviously you know that Aaron Rodgers flopped really, really bad this week. So that is thanks to the Tampa Bay defense, 40 fantasy points. And they're currently in the free agency because of me. I dropped them because I thought the matchup was bad. They were the number 3 defense at that time. Dropped them. Now they're become more highlighted defense this week, and I think they moved up to number 2. I'm going to say that the number 2 defense now behind the Ravens. All right. Okay, you guys. So those were our top positions this week. Hopefully I name drop you. So obviously Charles, Gabe, Aaron, Jay. Those were the only name drops out there. We had a free agent defense and the kicker. So yeah, kicker and defense for free agents this week. All right, you guys. So that leads me to the next part of this video, which is or top. You know, I need to work into this cooler intro. Like, here's the intro for this subject. But yeah, so sadly, I'll work on it. I'll see what I could do. All right, but this is our top players in the halfway point of the regular season, you guys. Starting with the one and only Patrick Mahomes. This dude had to be predicted. Round 1 selection, 306.46 fantasy points as of 6 games, you guys. Only 6 games, already at 300 plus fantasy points scored. That is ridiculous. So that is our number 1 ranked quarterback or number 1 ranked running back. Yes. The beast himself, Derrick Henry, 196.7 fantasy points as of week 6. So that is our number 1 running back. Of course, he's killing it. Granted, we had a lot of other good running backs that got hurt. Who knows what the outcome would have been if they would have been healthy. But life happens. COVID happened. And Derrick Henry is our number 1. Granted, he's expected to be a top elite running back anyway. So I'm not saying he came out of the gutter or anything like that. But, you would think like Kamara or, I don't know, Ezekiel Elliott, Barkley, like all these names that... they're there except for Barkley. Obviously, he's hurt. Kamara is doing pretty good himself, so don't get me wrong. But yeah, Derrick Henry, 196.7. Or wide receiver, Leno, pretty good selection with him. Calvin Ridley, 139.5 fantasy points. And that is our number 1 wide receiver, obviously at this point of the league or the season. A lot of the wide receivers are very close, so they're like literally points apart. So he's not like this far away from the number 2, but he's absolutely doing excellent with the absence of Julio Jones. Speaking of Julio Jones, he is back and he got me over 40 points. Oh man, I'm super happy. Let's hope he continues with that kind of production so I could feel like I have a chance, to come back and still do some kind of damage halfway into the season. Speaking of doing damage, Travis Kelce, he is our #1 ranked tight end in the league, 119 fantasy points. So obviously between him and Kittle, they're going back and forth, which is kind of expected. Those are the top two tight ends in our league, or actually in the NFL. So yeah, it's kind of expected for them to be up there. The kicker, I don't think I actually mentioned his name this season at all, but cumulatively he's been out there. So Justin Tucker, you guys. Justin Tucker has almost at 100. He has 96 fantasy points scored. So yes, it's not that big compared to the other positions, right? But they're a kicker. They don't get that many points. And last but not least, I kind of already gave it away a couple minutes ago. The Ravens defense. So yeah, so those are our #1 defensive team right now with 161 fantasy points. So yeah, you guys. So how you guys like that? Very common names on the top, right? So yeah, none of them actually kind of stood out that much. Justin Tucker's been a top kicker for a while. The Ravens were actually already good. Derrick Henry's a beast. Patrick Mahomes is a beast. I guess the biggest name here is Calvin Ridley, right? Because he's obviously a good receiver, but for him to be the #1 receiver in the league, he just booted out what's his name, Hopkins. Hopkins has been the #1 previously on the first 5 weeks of the season. So Hopkins has been the #1. He had a bad game this past week, so he dropped to #3. So now Calvin Ridley is our receiving leader. All right, you guys. So that's our update for our halfway into the season playoffs. I would say playoffs. Players. So hopefully you guys are happy about that. If you guys see those numbers, this should really tell us when it comes to drafting, you got to focus on these positions. Patrick Mahomes, 306. Compare that to the top receiver with 139. So, who would you draft first to make sure you get that kind of point production? Right? Mahomes going first obviously makes total sense. So even if you're drafting first overall, get Mahomes. So that might actually happen next year. We'll see. But Mahomes will be really killing games all by himself. Do you guys see the end of the Sunday night game? All I know is that it was Tyrese versus Aaron, and Aaron was dominating. He had like 227 fantasy points already scored. And Tyrese, was kind of a little far behind. But then, she's got Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper caught that touchdown last minute in garbage time. And then Kenyan Drake runs a 60-something yard touchdown run. And suddenly Tyrese's like points behind. She ended up with 216 fantasy points. And that's right there in the fourth quarter. She probably gained like 50 fantasy points just right off the bat. So that was super crazy. I thought she was going to come back and knock Aaron out. And I would have been super shocked. But it didn't happen. It got very close. But you can't tell me that wasn't exciting. All right, guys. So let me move on before I make a 20-minute video this week. Or, of course, we got to talk about our MVTs. And I got to say, this person that got the MVT this week is the best. It's the great looking. I just got a haircut this morning. Can you tell? Huh? Anyway, the best player alive. Bam. So yes, I went from the gutter, guys, a 12-ranked team to get my first 200-point game of the season. Literally, it's the first time I hit 200. And I made the MVT. Wow. So yes, I want to stay humble. Thank you to all my followers and all my fans out there. I'm coming back. So anyways, guys, so MVT, that's to me. So I'm going to not highlight myself as much as I just did. But let me focus. Did you guys see the donkey show? We had a donkey show this week, you guys. We had the Terrence versus Cody matchup. The donkey show. Literally at the end of Sunday, these kids were like at, I forgot, I didn't write it down, but like before the Monday night game, Terrence was like at 60 points and Cody like 80 or something like that. So anyway, just so you guys know, in case you guys missed it, Terrence hit me up. He made a big boo-boo. He meant to pick up a kicker and drop, obviously, the kicker that was on the bye. He originally had the Raiders kicker in his starting lineup, so he ended up picking up a kicker, and somehow he dropped Singletary instead of the kicker. So obviously, me as the commissioner that I am, I analyzed the situation and I said, nobody with a clear conscious mind will drop a starting running back on a starting lineup and drop him to pick up a kicker, right? So obviously, I took that as an error, and I don't think he actually meant to do it. So I took the liberty of reversing that transaction. So I was able, if you guys happen to catch Singletary on the waiver wire for like a split overnight, it was just overnight. So if you caught it like overnight, you probably saw it on the waiver wire. So yeah, I did a commissioner move. So I did reverse that for him so he could get Singletary back on his team. And then of course he plugged it right back in on his starting lineup. So if that ever happens to you guys, that you made a mistake, that's obviously a mistake. I can't fix something that said you drop like me. I dropped Tampa Bay defense, and because I'm sour, I'm gonna put it back on my. Obviously, that is cheating. That is nothing I will ever do. But in this scenario, it makes sense. Nobody with a clear, conscious mind will drop a starting running back from the starting lineup and pick up a kicker, right? So if that ever happens to you, reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to try to see if I could fix anything like that. But ultimately, it is each team owner's responsibility to do the right moves. So don't be doing that all the time, because I'll catch on to a pattern here. So, all right, you guys, just in case you notice that, that's what happened. All right. So yes. So going back to the donkey show. So Terrence, yes, let me give you this. So Terrence is our official donkey of the week, scoring a whopping 99.68 points. So he did not even crack 100. But Cody, he made 109.7. So he's practically 10 points ahead. So officially, I cannot give out a double donkey award. But I will label this as the Donkey Fest of the week. All right. So sorry, guys, to put you out there like that, but it's just a bad week for both of you guys, and you happen to verse each other, and that I know that pretty much hurts a lot. But yeah, 99.68, Terrence. So you get our friendly donkey award. Here you go. Yeah. So anyway, guys, so that was our MVT and our donkeys. And lastly, right before I let you go, since this video is already running over time, or ranking, Aaron's still sitting on the very top with the 5 wins and 1 loss. We have Cody, after that performance, actually moving up to the only team with 4-2, so he's alone at number 2 position. But then you have 8 teams, 8 at 3-3, and then you have myself at 2-4, and then Tony at 1-5. So again, having 8 teams in the middle with 3 wins, that means that Tony and I are 2 games away from being part of this crowd, which means we still have a really good chance of playoffs, so we have nothing to stress about. So Tony, don't give up, and I'm not gonna give up, obviously. So yeah, so there's still a lot of possibilities, you guys, for everybody for a playoff. So nobody give up, still plenty of time. All right. And lastly, the power rank leader, Aaron, has taken over the spot with 1,301, so 1,301.26. So he's now our power rank leader, on top of being the number one team. And I am no longer the last in power rank. Lino has taken over that position with 995.4. So I am no longer at the bottom, and I'm no longer at the lower of the power rank. So yeah. All right, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I just found out the news just a couple minutes ago that Fitzpatrick just got dumped. Not necessarily out of the team, but the Dolphins just named that rookie Taulu. I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry. If I had it in front of me, I'll probably read it, but I don't have it in front of me. But Miami has just announced that their new rookie kid will be the starting quarterback for Miami, and Fitzpatrick will now be the backup, what the heck happened there? What did Fitzpatrick do besides making the Dolphins so much better lately? And I didn't watch the game. I know he had 2 interceptions, but he threw 3 touchdowns, and they shut out the Jets. Literally, they did not even let him score 1 point. So I don't know how that translated into him losing the starting position and now being a bench quarterback. So I feel bad for Fitzpatrick because Michael was about to try to make a trade with me last week and giving me Fitzpatrick, although I already have 2 quarterbacks in my team, which is why I declined that right away. Now I'm glad I did. I just hope that Fitzpatrick gets traded and starts on a different team because he's got the potential. This poor kid never finishes the season, although he starts out really hot every season, and they're hot right now. So why did he get dropped? I don't know. But anyway, so in case I believe Tony has him now. He picked him up because Michael dropped him. So I know Tony had 3 quarterbacks at one point. I think he just dropped Stafford. Now technically you just lost Fitzpatrick because he's not gonna start anymore. But I think you still have Drew Brees. So you still have a good quarterback, but you went from 3 quarterbacks to 1 usable one as of right now. All right, Tony, I'm sorry, man. You keep on getting more negatives and more negatives. But anyways, guys, that is the conclusion of week 6. It's over the time. I'm a whopping 21 minutes in. Hopefully I didn't take much of your time, but let's hope you guys watch it till the end. If you did, thank you very much. And I will see you all here for week 7 weekly recap. All right, peace out.